Welcome back to NewsXWorld. I'm Devika Chopra and you're watching Focal Length, where you get a perspective and a briefing on topics from across the world. From the Quad to AUKUS, global powers are trying permutations and combinations in their strategy on China. The trade is on, but so are the tensions. From the Taiwan Straits to the seas of the Philippines, armed standoffs have now become daily routine. Joining us now is Dr Satoru Nagao, Fellow at the Hudson Institute in Tokyo. Dr Nagao's primary research area is US-Japan-India security cooperation. He is also director at the International Security Industry Council, senior research fellow at the Japan Forum for Strategic Studies, and specially appointed research fellow at the Japan Forum on International Relations. Amid China's increasingly aggressive maritime claims, how are other global powers working towards what they say is a free and open Indo-Pacific? Let's get his perspective. Dr. Nagao, thank you so much for joining us on Focal Length. Let me begin by asking you, US and Japan have proposed a UNSC resolution calling on countries not to deploy nuclear weapons in space. What perils lie if this happens?
Each media reports Russia is planning to deploy, and in the future, space will be the very important theater between the great powers. So, especially currently, the U.S. military advantages rely on the asset in the space. For example, you can imagine if the United States use the cruise missile Tomahawk. To identify the enemy, United States needs a satellite to identify the enemy. And after that, this missile is guided by the GPS satellite. And after that hit or not, they need to know. But in this case, satellite identify this missile has hit the target or not hit the target. These kind of things rely on space system. So view from this system, how to deal with this system, destroy these satellites is a good answer. So that's why space will be the main theater in the future warfare. So that's why the people talk about space, and but indeed this discussion is not a special new area because during the U.S.-Soviet Cold War, they have already talked much, and they agreed to ban to deploy space weapon in the space. But in case of US-China, US-Russia, the new areas, there's a media report, Russia is planning to deploy, or China is developing the new weapon, which deploy in the space. Under such kind of situations, how to maintain current rules is a matter of concern. That's why US-Japan has proposed UN Security Council resolution called on the country not to deploy the nuclear weapon into space. If the country deploys the nuclear weapon into space, from the space any place is relatively easy to hit the target by using nuclear weapon. That is a very big threat, and it will be a very big competition in the space. And in the space, indeed, it is relatively easy to use a nuclear weapon. That is another big matter. So, space, how to make the rule in the space, especially space warfare, will be the real one. Under such kind of situation, it is very important. That is a perception from US and Japan.
How does strengthening AUKUS militarily and technologically help Japan ward off military advancements from China?
There is a possibility, yes, indeed, this is real indeed, because the next Prime Minister Kishida is planned to visit United States, and in this case, US and Japan will talk about cooperation in AUKUS. So that's why this is now a real situation.
Can Quad become a military bloc to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific?
Of course, but you can imagine Quad. Why Quad is needed? If Japan want to cooperate with the US and Australia, we do not need a new concept. Why Japan seek Quad? Why Shinzo Abe, former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe seeks a Quad and introduce this idea in the Indian Parliament in 2007? Because of India. Japan want to cooperate with India. That's why Quad is needed. So Quad become military bloc or Quad become institutionalized one. Everything rely on India. If India want to do, it will happen. If India do not want to do, want to make the Quad to be the military something, it will not happen. That rely on India, I think. Quad is a framework to cooperate with India. That is very important purpose of the Quad to deal with China. Well, that is very important. In the Indo-Pacific also, Indo-Pacific, you can imagine in the Indo-Pacific, if we identify which country is a great power, influential country in the Indo-Pacific, 5 countries we can name, Quad plus China. So, except China, this is a Quad. So, Quad is a group of countries who need to deal with China in the Indo-Pacific. That is the relation between Quad and Indo-Pacific. So both ideas came from Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And so, in this idea, most important country is, no doubt, India. That is, so India decides fate of Quad, I think.
Dr. Nagao, there are rumors of Japan preparing to export its Patriot systems to Ukraine. This will essentially mark Japan's active participation in the war. How do you view these developments?
Current discussion in Japan indicate that Japan will not export a lethal weapon to the country which under war. So it is strange, but weapon is a tool to deal with war. But if the war has happened, Japan will not provide a weapon to this country, especially the lethal weapon. That is current Japan's discussion. Because for a long time, Japan tried to avoid to involve conflict in other country by exporting something. So that's why this tradition still some certain people want to continue. So of course, some certain number of the people, including me, want to change this kind of stance. But other people want to maintain the traditional pacifism, which is do not intervene anything militarily. So that's why Japan cannot participate Russia in the invasion in Ukraine actively. But inactively, Japan has a will to contribute, which is recently what happened is Japan provides a missile of the Patriot launcher to the United States because the US has already provided this missile to Ukraine. So Japan will provide the United States. And the United States use this missile for the US military. And but stock of this missile, so ammunition US possess will provide to the Ukraine. So that's why indirectly Japan involved this process. But that is that will happen. So Japan's stance as a security provider is still a little limited case. So, in my opinion, Japan should change more, or Japan should be active more. But current situation is like that. Japan is changing, but very slow pace. That is the situation. Thank you.
Has the Russia-Ukraine war and now the conflict in Gaza shifted the world's focus from Chinese aggression in East and South China Sea? Could this be a good thing?
This is not good, of course. But at the same time, what happened is since U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan, U.S. image as a strong power to deter any conflict in the world has gone. So Russia prepared to invade Ukraine after that, and Hamas tried to disrupt the U.S. reach Middle East mediation process between Israel and Saudi Arabia, and everything has happened since then. So now, without the U.S. recovers image as a strong deterrent power, it will not stop. It looks like just end of the Obama administration era, because that time Obama said if the Syrian government use a chemical weapon, that will be the red line. So U.S. will intervene in the situation, people believe. But Syrian government really used a chemical weapon that time. And but Obama's administration hesitated to intervene in Syria, and Putin suggests other idea, and Obama agreed. Since then, Russia annexed Crimea and start to attack the eastern Ukraine, and China start to build artificial island in South China Sea. So that has ended during the Trump administration because unpredictability of the Trump. People are worrying, including both friend and enemy, and especially when Trump invited Xi Jinping and dinner, during that time, he decided to fire the 13 missiles to Syria. So that was one of the symbolic unpredictability and one kind of intimidation toward China. That worked well, I believe. So that's why the Biden administration must show the image as a strong power to deter any conflict in the world. But currently, their stance looks like a little bit weak. Then the U.S. spend much resources in the Ukraine and Israel. Under such kind of situations, how much resources the United States can prepare for situation in the Indo-Pacific is concerned. So in this case, only the country which can fulfill this situation is U.S. allies and partners like Japan, Australia. Of course, the most important country is India, I believe, because this country and Vietnam, Philippines, other countries also, but these countries share the sea border and land border with China. When China move, who take charge to deter China, rely on these regional countries now. So that's why how to share the security burden is a matter of concern, and especially until the next U.S. presidential election in November, that is my concern in this case, and we must show our strong effort to fulfill the power vacuum, I think. Thank you. So India is a very strong country. India is very important, I believe, always. From now and in the future, India's role is very important, and India will increase the resources because India is rising. So what India can do will be big. And in the Indian Ocean, deploy the 10 ships in the Arabian Sea, the deal with the Houthis attack to the merchant ships. This is one example, or exercise Miran, 2 aircraft carrier deployed. That is another example. Or in the land border, increasing the 10,000 troops in the India-China border. That is another example. Indeed, India is showing very strong power to deter China. So that is new hope, I believe. Thank you.
With that, we take a short break. See you on the other side.